Hi, I'm Andrew Taylor. Today I'm going to walk you through step by step and how to build your very own Gaga Ball pit using little more than PVC and some basic nuts and bolts. Take a look at the shopping list and let's head to our local store and start.
So here's your materials list. The first thing you'll notice is I've broken it out by what you'll be buying at the hardware store. These are common items you should be able to find at a hardware store. And then a couple items that you'll have to get online. First, you'll need 22 10-foot sections of the 1-inch PVC. Now this is the 40 gauge PVC, which is a little bit thicker and should be much more sturdy for the build. The next is a T-joint. You'll need 52 of those, 1 inch, and these are the slip. They're a slip joint on all three sides, as opposed you'll find some that have screw joints. We're not looking for those. You want the one that are the slip joint all around. The next is the 4-way PVC joint right here. This is a 4-way that'll go in the middle of each of your side panels. You'll also need some PVC cement. You will need 1/4 inch flat washers. You'll need 2 25 packs. You'll actually need about 40 of them, but they come in a 25 pack, so get 2 of those. You'll need 10 2-packs of grade 5 1/4 inch size 20 4-inch hex cap screws, and then you'll need 20 1/4 inch size 20 nuts. These last 3 items work together. These are going to be the things that you use to actually attach all the panels together. Online, you're going to order 5 6x6 foot sections of netting, and then you're going to need, I recommend doing 400 packs of 6-inch ball bungees. You can also get duct tape. I recommend getting 4 60-yard rolls of duct tape. This way you can add some color to your Gaga Ball pit. And if you want, you can also get some Valspar spray paint. Again, spray paint doesn't work very well. It can kind of scratch off, but it does add a nice coat, and it is pretty easy to reapply. So all told, with the non-optional accessories, the non-optional materials, you're looking at just over $300. And then if you're adding some color to it, you add a little bit more cost to it. Let's take a look at how to order materials online. One of the items that you will have to order online is the netting. The website that I use is from a provider called Gourock.com. Simply go to www.gourock.com. Once you get to the home page, you'll simply click on netting, scroll down to netting by the square foot, and scroll down to the section that has 1 3/4 inch mesh. I would recommend, if you can afford it, to go ahead and use the sturdier netting, the number 21. However, for today, I'm simply going to show you how to check out with the 24 cent. So click to buy. It'll bring you to this page. Now remember, we have 10 sides to our decagon. What I'm recommending is ordering 5 6-foot by 6-foot sections. You can simply cut them down the middle, and that will give you enough netting for each of your side panels, as well as some left over, because the entry and exit panel don't need the full 6-foot by 3-foot section. Enter 5 6-foot by 6-foot sections into the dimension. Make sure that you are on square cut for this top box, and then under your quantity, 6-foot by 6-foot is 36, and we're ordering 5 of those sections, so that is 180. So you will type in 180 into this quantity. Simply click Add to Cart, and it'll give you your total. But around $55 is what you will need for the netting, and it will take a couple weeks to get it to you. Now, the ball bungees are what you're going to use to attach the netting to each of your side panels and to your entry and exit panels. And you will need about just over 300 of them. Go to eBay, ebay.com, type in 6-inch ball bungee. 100 packs generally cost around $17 or $18. Here we have a 100 pack for $14. 6-inch white ball bungee, 100 pack for $15 each. I recommend going 4 because it will give you a few extras. Go ahead and get these ordered. As soon as they get here, you can start attaching your netting to the side panels. If you choose to add some color to your Gaga pit by using duct tape, the least expensive duct tape that I've found comes in a 60-yard roll, and it can be found on Amazon.com. And then the seller is called Pro Tape. And here you can see that it comes in all kinds of colors, and you can get it from around $7 to $6. There is a blue. This is the one that I used on the one in the video. Again, it's about $7. If you're a Prime member, you can get it free shipping.
Now that you've got your materials, the first thing that we'll need to do is we'll need to start cutting all of the PVC into 3-foot sections. It'll look about like this when you're done. So what we're going to do first is take each of your PVC tubes and mark it at 3 feet. Then make the cut. By the time you're done, you should have 64 of these 3-foot sections. One hint you can use to get you started is if you have a board or something to put down at the bottom, you can push all of the tubes against the board. That way it's a little faster when you actually start measuring them and marking them. Simply go to 36 inches. Now you're ready to make your cuts. So we're almost done cutting. We've now gone through and made 64 sections, each 3 foot. That will work great for each of the side panels and for parts of the entry panels. However, the side portions of the entry panel will need an additional cut. As you can see, I've pulled 4 of the 3-foot sections. These will serve as the side joints of the entry and exit panels. However, because we're going to have an additional T-joint in there, we're going to actually need to remove a little part of each when we make a cut. The reason for this is, inside each of these T-joints has a stopper. This keeps it from going too far in. If we simply made a cut and put it in this way, this joint would not line up with the other panels. So what we need to do is take about 1.5 inches out of the center of each of these. Mark the 18-inch, which is right in the middle, and then go 3/4 of an inch on each side. We will cut these sections out when we actually put it on the T-joint. That way the side panels for the exit and entry panels will line up with the full-size panels. So as you can see, here are the places, the section that we're going to take out. It's marked. So as you can see, I went ahead and assembled the side joints, the sides, to the entry and exit panels. And the reason is because I wanted to finish the thought of why we were taking 1.5 inches out of that middle section. Remember, we're only doing this for 4 of these 3-foot panels, and each of these will be the side pieces to the entry and exit. Basically, they will fit like this. There will be a 3-foot section that goes in the middle, and this will be the panel where the kids and players can enter and exit. But to finish the thought, the reason that we had to take that 1.5 inches out is if you didn't, when you put this panel in, it would be too high. It would be 1.5 inches high. And the reason is because this joint, these 2 pieces do not touch in the middle. There's a gap in there of about 1.5 inches. When you take that 1.5 inches out, they're flat. Since we started on the entry and the exit panels, let's go ahead and finish off these sections. First, you'll see what I did is I've laid it out the way that we are going to assemble it in just a second once we actually glue it in. You see it's got the 2 original side sections that we just did on each side, and we've added a 3-foot section in the middle and a 3-foot section at the bottom. Even though we're going to have T-joints at the top, we are not going to put a section there because that will be where the players step over and step out to get in and out of the pit. So we have a T-joint at the top, we have a T-joint in the middle that we've already glued into our sections, and we're going to have a T-joint at the bottom. What this does is it's going to give us a little bit of room down at the bottom so that we're not sitting on the ground. We've got 2 T-joints at the bottom, 2 T-joints at the top, and we're going to go ahead and glue our sections in so that it'll look just like this. So what I do is I use the purple part, I use the primer on this piece here, on the smaller of the 2, and simply go in circles until I've covered approximately 1 inch from the tip. Next, I put the glue on the inside of the piece that I'll be bonding it to. Then it's simply a matter of twisting it until you get it set. Now, a couple notes. You want to make sure, because it sets very quickly, you want to make sure for this particular piece that it's lined up correctly, which means flat. Okay, you only have a couple seconds before this bonds completely. So make sure that you twist it, get it into shape very quickly. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the rest of the entry and exit panel, and then we'll show it to you once it's complete. So you should now have the 2 exit and entry panels done, and they should look something like this. Go ahead and put those to the side, and we'll come back to them later as we continue our assembly. Let's go ahead and move on to the other 8 sections to see what the other panels will look like. So this is what the remaining 8 panels are going to look like. We've already done our entry and our exit panels. We now need to go ahead and start gluing together each of the 6-foot side panels. So as you can see, each of these are 3 foot. We've basically taken 7 of our 3-foot sections and laid them out. We have T-joints in each of the corners. And notice that the T-joint is facing where this is down. This is the bottom section down here. We have a T-joint up here, which is attaching the cross section and the up and down section. And then we have a 4-joint right here. So as you start assembling the different panels, the 8 side panels, you'll notice that there are a couple pieces that keep coming up. There's a centerpiece, and in the middle of every panel that is used for support. And this centerpiece has a T at the top, a 3-point slip joint, and at the bottom it's got its 4-sided slip joint. As you're putting these pieces together, sometimes it's easier to do all 8 of these at a time. So there will be 8 that look like this that fit in the middle. There will also be 16 on each side, one fitting this way and one fitting this way, that look like this, that have a 3-point at the top where it's coming out of the side and a matching 3-point at the bottom. Start with the vertical ones up and down, and then you can put the side poles in once the vertical sections are all created. You're going to create 8 that look like this, that will be the center point of each side panel. And you're going to create 16 that look like this, that will go on each side. So as you can see now, I now have made all of the sides to the panels. There's 16 pieces there, as well as all the center support beams for each panel. And there's 8 of those because there's one for each side panel. And now you can see the full panel fully assembled. This is what it should look like. The next step is we need to assemble 7 more side panels just like this one. So at this point you should have all 8 of your side panels done, and you should also have 2 entry and exit panels. The next step is putting them together, and we're going to bolt the tops of them together up here with a bolt that'll keep them from twisting out of place. We're going to drill a hole all the way through both of these top pieces and use a nut and bolt to go through. This will help solidify the section so that it doesn't spin. And what I mean by that is if a child or a ball came and hit them, they would twist and you would lose your structural stability. So the way that we fix that, we actually drill a hole all the way through, and we use a nut and bolt that goes through that will hold the angle for each panel. Okay, and we'll actually do one at the top and we'll do one down at the bottom. Now if you think about it, we're building a decagon, right? And that means that each of these, if you were measuring this angle coming out this way and turning this way, it should be, from here to here, should be 36 degrees. Because we've got 10 sides, 360 degrees. So each of these has to be 36 degrees. What you'll need to do is print it and cut the center part out, and it should fit fairly close over your T connector right here. So make sure that the angles are on this side. So you've got an 18-degree angle here and an 18-degree angle here. And then what you're going to do is take a marker and simply mark. If this is the inside, you're going to mark right here and then all the way across right here. Your 18-degree off center. So this is, if it was straight, you've now made a mark this way for 18 degrees. Remember, the next one over here will also have an 18-degree, which will give you the correct angle for your decagon. The question next is, how deep do we drill our hole? Do we put it up here? Do we put it down here? I'm using a 3/4 inch washer here, which actually fits very nicely, assuming that you use the Lasco 1 inch. It actually fits very nicely. So what I can do is simply line the washer up so that it's snug here with the top, and then line it up so that this red line is right in the middle. And what I'm going to do is simply put my mark right there. So go ahead and mark an I for inside and an O for the outside of the pit. Now for the pilot hole, I recommend using a fairly small drill bit, probably no more than 1/16 of an inch. The actual bolt that I'm using is a 1/4 inch, so we'll use a 1/4 inch or slightly larger drill bit when we actually put the main hole in. Make sure that you're lined up, and it should go all the way through. Remember, if you're finding that they're not lining up perfectly, you can always go back with a little bit larger drill bit and widen the hole a little bit. That 1/4 inch bolt doesn't have to fit too snugly, because once you bolt it down, it'll give you plenty of support. And we are going to use bungees to hold these together. The primary purpose of that bolt is simply to keep it from sliding side to side. So there you have it. Now the holes are ready. They're aligned at the correct angle. You can go ahead and put them together. Your bolt on and tighten it up. It will give you plenty of support. This will hold the angle correctly and will keep it from sliding back and forth. So at this point, I have marked and drilled holes in all the tops of each of my panels, including the entry and exit panels. A word of caution here. Remember what is the inside, and make sure that as you flip this over and start drilling holes in the bottom sides of your panel, that they line up. Okay, and what I mean by that is that you don't have one angle, an inside angle here, like this, and then on the bottom side you drill it this way. I had the inside facing the camera. The easiest way to do it is simply to flip it over, okay, lay it down, and as you go to start measuring your angles here and marking them, take a quick glance down at the bottom. Okay, so I see that the bottom, the hole is on this side, on the inside. That way when I do my mark, it serves as another check that I am marking it and aligning it correctly with the holes. All right, the netting has arrived. As you can see, I've laid it out in the section we ordered, which is 6 foot by 6 foot. What we need to do now is simply count the boxes from the bottom all the way to the top, and we can cut it right in the middle. And that will give us the netting that we need for one of our panels, actually 2 of our panels, because we'll cut it right in the middle. And then we'll have 2 3 by 6 sections. So as you can see, I've laid out the 3 foot by 6 foot section across one of our full-size side panels. Remember, when I counted across, I counted 39 squares going across. So we want the 20th one to line up right in the middle here with this center pole. Now what I did is I went ahead and put one on each corner just to kind of hold the place. That helps me know how I'm doing as far as lining them up when I go across and start actually putting the bungees on. Another quick note is the way that I set this up, I want the netting on the inside of this, the inside, the side where the kids are playing. And the reason is because when they hit the ball against this net, this support beam will provide a little more stability to push the ball back towards them. If it's on the back side, it doesn't get any further support and it's going to put more pressure on the bungees on the side. Make sure the netting is on the inside of this center pole. So as you can see, I've now done all the corners in the center section. I like to do 2 right here on the top and the bottom because that gives it a little bit of tension right here. On the corners, I did 1 on this bottom right square on the inside and outside, and I've done that for all 4 of the corners of the panel. So now you can kind of see it's starting to get a little bit of tension in there. Now this is something that will be to your preference. If you want, you can go through and add these, and this will depend on how many of the bungees you want to buy and how tight and secure you want the netting to be. If you're playing with younger kids, it's going to be a younger kid pit. You probably don't need the tension quite as strong. If you're going to be playing with kids that can hit it the ball a little bit harder, you probably want more bungees around the side. As a general rule, I like to do about 2 for every foot. So what that would mean is about every 4 of these squares, maybe a little more. So basically I would have 1, 2, 3 additional ones here on each side. So this is what the final panel will look like. As you see, I've put all the bungees on it. I basically have 5 per section here. So 5 for every 3 foot panel. And then I put 4 in the middle to provide a little bit of tension as well in the middle. So that comes out to 34 per side panel. Now here I have one of the entry panels. This is actually the one that I've already painted and put the green tape to indicate this is where I'm entering. The better way to do this is to cut it a 3 foot by 3 foot section and lay the netting over. That way you're just going to be putting bungees along these sides and you would have netting laid over the top here. Now the reason for that is there's going to be kids stepping over and out of this repetitiously throughout the game. If you have bungees that are attached here, they're going to get caught on the kids' shoes, they're going to get knocked off, and it's going to cause this netting to fall down. Plus, it saves you from having to use some additional bungees. So what I recommend is cutting a 3-foot by 3-foot section and laying it over and then using bungees to go around the sides. So remember, I told you earlier when we counted them out, there were 39 squares. What I'm going to do is I'm going to count to the middle one, which is the 20th, cut straight across, and then fold it over. So here's what your final entry and exit panel will look like. As far as the bungees go, you can see I've doubled up the netting. I've laid it across the top, and I've used 2 bungees across the left, and I put 5 across the bottom and then 2 across the right. So that's it. At this point, go ahead, if you've not already done so, and put the netting on your last few side panels and on your remaining entry and exit panel. At this point, you've made everything you need for your Gaga pit. All you need to do is assemble the panels together. So one of the fun things that you can do with your pit as you start finishing it up is adding a little bit of color to it. Now remember I said earlier that spray paint does not always hold very well. It can be scratched off, it doesn't always stick. Sometimes it doesn't give a real clear coverage on the PVC. However, I don't mind using a little bit of it for highlight with the understanding that it may in fact scratch off, and that's okay. For a better coverage, as I've mentioned, you may want to use duct tape. So as you can see here, I've created a pattern simply by using a little bit of spray paint as an accent color and then covering it with a blue duct tape. The duct tape allows you to use more colors, get a little more coverage, and really add some fun patterns and designs to your particular pit. However, understand that whenever you use duct tape, you are adding a cost to your overall pit. I wanted to give you a little more information now on how I went about finding the tape and actually applying the tape to my side panels. First of all, any old duct tape will work. But what I've found is that if you go to your major stores, you're going to be paying $5 or $6 for a roll of 10 yards to 15 yards. Obviously that's not enough, or that's going to be very expensive to do your entire pit if you're paying that rate. I've shared with you a link of where I found 60-yard rolls for around $8. That's what I recommend, and it comes in a number of colors. I think I saw an orange on there, a green, a black. Obviously it comes in blue. It may even have some reds or other colors available, but that obviously keeps your costs down should you choose to add color to your particular pit. As far as the actual application goes, what I used here is I used 2 long pieces for each section, for each pole. Okay, so this I'm calling right now a pole or a section. I used 2 about 34-inch pieces. You just pull it out, and I put one on this side, and I put one on this side. Now, it really takes 3. Each of these is about 1.8 inches wide. It really takes 3 pieces to completely cover this, and that's why I said earlier you probably want 4 rolls if you're going to completely cover it in color. I used about 3 because I left a gap for my paint to show through. So you're going to pull off 2 34-inch pieces and put them on one side and on the other side. Again, if you choose to cover it completely, you'd put a 3rd piece right here. Then you're going to use a 4 to 6-inch top piece to wrap the top, and this will cover the edges of your other pieces here. Okay. Use your imagination as far as color goes. You may want to use these pieces different colors to add some variety. Make it yours. Okay. Let the kids get involved so that they can also have a say in the design and color. So there you have it. Order your duct tape if you want to customize it, and send me some pictures of what the final colors look like.